Dak Prescott does this, Louis Riddick.
Yeah, look, that's what pressure does to you. Pressure makes you make bad decisions, turn the football over, and give your team a not very good chance of winning games. And that's what happened, and you see it again right here with Ed Oliver.
That's Ed Oliver coming behind for the strip, and this is Trent Murphy, and the Bills are in business, and they would score from there. Cowboys had mistakes on special teams as well. The week before, they had a punt blocked. This week, they missed 2 field goals. Nothing going right for the Cowboys as that one went too far right. And then the big play on the 4th and goal, they decide to go for it here, and they have a play that never looks like it has a chance to begin with. Jerry Jones can't believe what he is seeing as the Cowboys turn it over there and turn it down. Bills 26-15 on Thanksgiving. Dallas, trouble.
Emotional locker room. Just an exchange of words about us sticking together. Anything and everything outside of that locker room doesn't matter, and as simple as that.
Right now, we're pissed off. We know what type of team we have, and we haven't put that on the foot at all this year.
Zeke said the locker room was pissed off afterwards. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, for sure. All of those words, for sure. We understand the type of team that we have and what we're capable of. We got to find a way to show it.
And this statistic almost feels like piling on, but it is worthy of note that they're 6-6, and the Cowboys are tied for the most games played at exactly 500 since Jason Garrett took over during the 2010 season. In that span, Dallas has finished 8-8 3 times, which is the most in the National Football League. And now you said something early this morning, Ancho, that really intrigued me. You said it looked to you like Dak was pressing in this game. I'd love you to show us what you mean.
Yeah, Dak is definitely pressing, and I want the Cowboys fans to know Kellen Moore, to me, deserves some immunity right now because he put this linebacker in mental calisthenics. Tremaine Edmonds, he has the final number 3 on this play. It's currently Ezekiel Elliott. You count from outside in when you talk about eligible receivers. Well, Kellen Moore has Jason Witten go in motion. Changes the whole count. Now Jason Witten is the final number 3 again. Cooper at 1, Cobb at 2, Witten at 3. But right before the snap, one more time, Cooper goes in motion. Now Zeke has become the number 3 for Tremaine Edmonds, still highlighted at linebacker. But because Jason Witten blocks for just half a count, Zeke screams to the flat, which now moves Witten back to the number 3 receiver, which this linebacker has. Again, to me, Kellen Moore designed a perfect play, which is the only reason the Cowboys scored any points at all yesterday, giving them a layup. Now, on the flip side, when Dak can't make the layup, don't press. Every play doesn't need to be a 3-pointer. Right here, you have a little bit of time. Throw the check down. Sometimes the best play is the play that you don't make. Don't force it. Don't throw the long ball. Just hit Zeke right here. Instead, sack, forced fumble, Bills ball, going the other way. That's Dak pressing. All right, let's take a look at it. Luke talked about it earlier. Weak side blitz, they call it up. We're bringing a weak side scrape. Dak, the timing has changed. The clock has changed. You can't get the screen you want anymore. Throw it at Pollard's feet. Live to play another down again. Sometimes the best play is the play you don't make. Instead, he scrambles, he tries to force it, and just like that, Bills ball going the other way. So I just wanted to make it a little bit more clear as I watched the tape back. Kellen Moore, to me, he does deserve a little bit of immunity, and Dak is pressing.
What do you think, Louis?
Yeah, he does. In certain situations, you're right. That play, the play that you saw to Jason Witten for the touchdown, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, like when we talk about the Ravens, how pre-snap motion can absolutely screw up your count as far as what your match is supposed to be, and have you sitting there frozen going, I don't even know who I'm supposed to cover. And next thing you know, it's touchdown. They need to do that more consistently, though, in those big, crucial situations. And it's not just about calling up perfect plays. It's about recognizing the situation where, as Romo said, you should have called timeout when you didn't get the look you wanted. Yeah. That's also part of the offensive coordinator's job, the head coach's job. So they're doing it in spurts, there's no doubt. And they're better than they were last year. Still not good enough, though.
And to me, on the back end of that is, if I'm Dak, I understand you have a contract at hand. Everybody's looking to you at the quarterback of America's team. But you can't always press. Again, you don't have to make the 3-pointer every time. You can win the game off layups and check down.
No, there's a lot of pressure on that team right now, and it's manifesting itself in a lot of different ways. Okay, let's go to the early game yesterday. Let's go to Chicago and Detroit with the Lions at home with David Blau starting in place of Jeff Driscoll, who had been starting in place of Matt Stafford. And this is the first completion of David Blau's career. Kenny Golladay, a 75-yard touchdown, and that ties the game early at 7. Blau played a very respectable game for a guy who was in the situation that he was, and they had a 17-7 lead. Now it's 17-10 in the third quarter, and here's Mitchell Trubisky, Lewis, finding a tight end.
Yeah, when he gets hot and he gets on a nice little streak and in a nice groove, Mitchell can throw the football as well as anyone, particularly these out-breaking deep routes, like these 7 routes, like you saw him throwing all day long. You're going to see some more of them.
That tied the game at 17. They had been behind. Now they're behind again, 20-17. And again, Trubisky brings it back, and he was going to Anthony Miller all day.
Same type of route, just now out in the field, not down near the goal line or in the red zone where it's a little bit longer developing route, and he was on it all day long.
Absolutely. Later in the drive, under 3 minutes to go. This time on the other side, but to the same man. It's Miller. They're in business. They're inside the 5. And then as the clock is winding down, you will see Trubisky finding David Montgomery for what proves to be the game-winning touchdown, a 3-yarder there. And Trubisky, 29 of 38, 338 on the day, and 3 touchdowns. Bears get a win they desperately need, and it's the 3rd time in his career that Trubisky throws for 300 yards and 3 scores. That's the most such games among all Bears quarterbacks since the 1970 merger. He had 4 total passing touchdowns in his first 4 road games this year. So look, they've been looking for a quarterback in Chicago for a very long time. A year ago, we thought they'd found one in Mitchell Trubisky. After yesterday's performance, what do we think?
I think you see that he can dial it up in certain moments. The question is this with Mitchell, and you saw it like last year. I remember talking to people out there and saying, how do you get Mitch to get in the same headspace that he was on the last drive against the Eagles in the playoff game before the kicker really hit the kick off of the crossbar?
Right.
How do you get him in that same headspace? That's the million-dollar question. How do you get Mitchell to play like this more consistently, to throw the football with this kind of accuracy, this kind of touch, and this kind of command in the huddle? When he does this kind of thing, what happens is all the people who supported him are now going to go, see, he can do it. It's just a matter of developing him. But really what he's doing is he's setting you up. Because I don't believe he necessarily has that kind of mindset to really dial in. Okay. And I've been a supporter of his. I have been a very, very vocal supporter of his. But too many times the consistency is just too up and down. And I think this could lead them to think we don't really need to address this situation, and that scares me.
Well, first things first, somebody make sure Mitch gets in front of a TV because he might not be watching as he shuts off his TVs.
Right.
Oh, wow. But Mitch, you balled yesterday, and I have to say that. He balled yesterday, Lewis, and he did his thing. And I think, Greeny, he's very young still. This could be a confidence-boosting type of game. We saw him make some phenomenal throws, and I think Matt Nagy put him in some good positions, moving him outside the pocket early on, which made him comfortable. We tried to write him off. You can't write him off just yet.
Well, we've been writing him off, it feels like now, for about a month. What do you think the mindset is in Chicago, and do you think yesterday influences it a lot?
Well, it influences a little because they've seen him do it in a key spot. But talking to people on that coaching staff about Trubisky, they've consistently said, we don't have any doubt about what he can do, that he can make all these plays, he can make all these throws. It's a matter of getting his footwork consistent, his decision-making, his anticipation, those kinds of things that they've been working on him with, so they see it in flashes. But if they don't see it for the next several weeks in a row, it's, as Lewis says, it's going to be tough for them to believe it.
What is their plan?
I think their plan, as I understand it, and again, things can change, but something similar to what the Titans did, right? They bring in a veteran like Ryan Tannehill to kind of push Mariota, maybe compete with, maybe eventually take the job if that's what's necessary. I think a similar plan to that is what you see in Chicago.
I definitely think you need to challenge him and get him to whatever it needs to be done in order to get him to lock in and be able to stay locked in on a much more. It's the same thing I talked about earlier in this show about it's not a matter of can he do it enough and consistently enough, because flashes get coaches fired.
Yep.
Simple as that.
They play Dallas next Thursday. It's a very interesting start to next week. We'll talk about it. Meanwhile, there's a huge game tomorrow. Of all the games tomorrow, this one has as much at stake as absolutely any. First place in the Big Ten West and a bid to the Big Ten championship game on the line as you watch Minnesota-Wisconsin, 3:30 Eastern on ABC and live on the ESPN app. So much is at stake, including a lot of ramifications for the college football playoff. All right, coming up here on Get Up As We Go, no one is happier than Stephen A. Smith this morning. Don't miss him live in our studio next with his thoughts on what happened and didn't for the Cowboys yesterday. And then, if you're not aware, Conor McGregor is coming back 3 years after his last win. Our insider will join us in studio to tell you what you should expect from the return. That and more on the way. Get Up, ESPN.